Hello everyone, welcome to another session of learning. So we are going through the CTET or TNTET or any state teacher eligibility test exam concepts for child development and pedagogy. So we have completed with the child development concept and its relationship with learning and about the socialization process. And now we are going into the next topic of child-centered and progressive education. So in that, we are going to see the first part in this video, wherein we are going to focus on the features, characteristics, and principles of this child-centered and progressive education. So we can see that all these were brought about after a lot of ideas which were given by the previous forerunner psychologists like Froebel and John Locke, Dewey, and all. Okay, with all these people, they brought about a thing like child-centered education. We need child-centered education wherein the child is becoming the priority and child comes into the child's needs and interest are kept at the center of the learning process. Okay, so we see that when we have a child-centered education, the students are encouraged to explore, discover, and reflect. Instead of just relying on rote memorization, they learn on their own. They explore themselves. So, wherein here in this, we see that every child is treated unique. Every child is treated unique, and every child, the focus is on the child's interest, abilities, their curiosities have to be considered. In the traditional system, their curiosities or questions might not even be answered. But nowadays, whenever a child is going to ask something, they tend to ask something different. Their curiosity, the space for curiosity is given. So, with that, we have brought about all these five features. All these, sorry, seven features are there. So, the first one is learning based on the child's needs. So, we see that every child learns at its own pace. Okay, child learns at its own pace, at its own level. So when we do this learning based on the child's needs, we see to that the pressure is reduced. Okay, this pressure is not going to be there when the learning is based on the child's needs. The next one is learning by doing. Learning by doing is when they experiment. Okay, when they experiment, you can see in this picture how these children are experimenting. Each one has his or her own style. So this single teacher has to meet the needs of everybody by assigning them tasks which they might be interested. Some might learn through projects, some might learn through stories, some might learn through real objects which are being shown to them. Of in this way, however, they try to connect. So in that way, we'll have to do, that is learning by doing. The next one is teacher is a guide. Teacher is a facilitator. Okay, from the trainer, here in this concept, the teacher becomes a facilitator. So the teacher not just gives answers, but the teacher encourages a child to ask his or her own questions to help them to think on their own. Okay, the teacher does not control the student, wherein we let them to raise their own ideas and questions and all. Okay, so all this is there. And then when we talk about real life learning ideas, when they look into their real life, they get more ideas rather than just reading from some study material or textbook. So they learn from what they experience in their real life, and this makes the learning very simple. The learning is made very simple and easy to remember. So when they learn from what they see in their real life, it will be very easy for them to remember. Then focus should be on the whole child. That is, it should not just be on one particular area, but it should focus on the physical needs, the emotional needs, the social needs which the child needs, and then the moral development. All these have to be considered along with the academics. Okay, along with academics, all these have to be given importance. That is, we look forward towards the holistic development of the child. It's not only on a particular concept. It looks forward on the for holistic development of the child. Flexible teaching methods. The teaching method cannot be rigid. So teachers should use various methods wherein it can be useful for some child. So you can do it through reading, through art, scientific methods can be done. Okay, you can see different child has his or her own way of learning. So that should be addressed. Some learn only through play, some learn only through group activity, some learn only when they listen to some kind of stories. So that should be focused on, and then only those children's abilities or those children's doubts can be clarified. The next one is what I first said, space for curiosity and creativity should be given, only then the child will be able to explore. So these are all the features of child development. So when we talk about features, feature is something like specific. So what all has to be there? Okay, what all has to be there? The added attributes, whatever we need to give. So these are all the features. So we'll when we look into the child-centered education features, the learning should be based on the child's needs. It should be learning by doing. The teacher acts as a facilitator or a guide. Real life learning through real life experiences. The holistic development of the child is being considered. Flexible teaching methods have to be adopted by the teacher, and the teacher should give space for curiosity and creativity of the child so that the child will be able to get the wholesome learning experience. Now, when we look into the characteristics, so what are the characteristics of the child? When we look at characteristics, what are characteristics? Characteristics are nothing but the qualities. Characteristics means what are the qualities? What are the qualities of the child-centered education? So, in child-centered education, we look forward for the growth of the child as the priority. Our priority is only about the growth of the child, and it makes the learning interesting and meaningful. So when we talk about qualities, it is this. Okay, characteristics means qualities. You should remember that. Learning, it is made interesting and meaningful through experiences, and the child's potential is recognized, and once you recognize, it can be channelized, it can be utilized properly. And overall development, that is what I spoke about, the holistic development, and full freedom should be given. The child should be allowed to explore, allowed to be creative, allowed to be innovative in his or her own way. So these are the qualities of this child-centered education, or the characteristics of the child-centered education. Now looking into the principles. So when we look at when we talk about the principles, what are the principles? When you talk about principles, it is nothing but the fundamental rules, you can say. So these are my sometimes we say my life principles are different. Okay, so that's what we are seeing here. So principles talks about the basic fundamental rules which has to be considered when we implement the child-centered education. The first one is understanding of child psychology. So the teacher or the educator should be capable of understanding the child's behavior, the child's social conditions, the child's surroundings. All these should be considered. Okay, only then the curriculum can be planned, only then the teaching method can be planned. So all these have to be done. So how you adopt various strategies? Okay, strategies, adoption of like implementation of strategies could be based only on the understanding of child psychology. So first priority is you need to understand the child psychology. The next one is evaluation and testing. So how do we evaluate? So you can see that in the past few years there is a lot of change in the evaluation, in the way children are being given tests. So previous years it was different, it was completely different. Then came the comprehensive continuous comprehensive evaluation, the CCE pattern is then came. Then we had the term wise uh, evaluations, wherein the first term whatever is being done it will be over, second term whatever is being done that will be separate. So likewise CBSE and the other education systems are bringing about various plans so that they bring out a lot of testing techniques so that the child's development is being planned, and we need to see where and how it has to be conducted. So previous days it was only written test. Now marks are given even for projects, even for activities, for everything. Okay, so everything carries more importance nowadays than in the traditional method of teaching. The next one is syllabus. Syllabus should be upgraded. So it should not be the same for over a period of 10-15 years. You can't have the same syllabus because it is child centered and the child's mindset is going to keep on changing. So the syllabus has to be upgraded periodically based on the development of the children, based on their mindset, based on the psychological analysis of the children's needs, the values, and the variety required. It has to be done, and the syllabus should be made flexible for all types of learners. So it cannot be very rigid, like where only the children who are very strong in their academics can achieve. It should be flexible when it should help both the strong and the slow boomer and the late bloomers. The next one is managing discipline. So even if it is, if when we talk about child-centered classroom, it should not go it should go in a way that children do whatever they like. Still, discipline has to be considered. Okay, though the teaching method, the learning method is all made flexible, still discipline should be inculcated in the child. For that, accordingly, we need to give them some activities. We have to give them a response to their actions in such a way that discipline is being considered important or discipline is brought into the classroom. The next one is practical orientation. So learners should be oriented towards a practically they should be exposed. They should know what kind of problems may occur if such a thing is not followed. We can very easily tell the child this has to be done, but the child should also be taught what will happen if it is not done. Okay, so that knowledge should be imparted by the teacher if using the practical orientation. Only if it is done practically, the child will accept and the child will understand it. When this is being done, automatically discipline will also come into play. The last one is diagnosis and dismantling of problems. So when you upgrade the syllabus or when you do the evaluation and testing, you will have to look forward with what happened in the past. So what happened in the past, how was the syllabus earlier, and how did we get the output, and what is the feedback, and what kind of things still need work, or you need to categorize the problems, you need to prioritize the problems, and with the understanding of this child psychology, you will be able to analyze and bring about a better curriculum, a better evaluation, a better testing method. When all this is being done, surely child-centered education will be a success. Okay, and we all know that the current education system, the government, and everybody is focusing only on that. Okay, so all these are there. So when we look into the principles, understanding of child psychology, yes, we need it. It is the prime and the first thing. Next one is, once you know this, you will be able to plan on the evaluation and testing. And when you know how to evaluate and what to test, you will be able to frame the syllabus. And all these are the practical part. When you practically give them the exposure, they'll understand what to do and what not to do, and managing discipline will not be a problem. And once all this is being done and it is implemented, the feedback and the past things should give us an idea of what has to be done and what problems we faced in the past and how it can be overcome in the future. So with this, we are completing with the features, characteristics, and principles of child-centered learning. Hope it was useful for you and you got a good idea about child-centered education. See you again with another learning session with a new video with another concept. Thank you everyone.